Will you please take your seats? Thank you. This is the 575th meeting of the City of Laurel Planning Commission. This is Tuesday, March 10th, 2015. Okay. Where's Ms. Green? I'm not used to this. Oh, yeah. Will you please call the roll?
Councilman Smalls.
Here.
Mr. Welford.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Mr. Kish.
Here.
Mrs. Bettman.
Here.
Mrs. Holland. Chairman Williford.
Yes, here.
You have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right. Has everyone read the minutes from the February meeting?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
We have some roll call, please. A vote call.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Mrs. Bettman.
Yes.
Mr. Welford.
Yes.
Mr. Kish.
I abstain. I wasn't at the meeting.
Chairman Williford.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Will you clarify for the public that there's a Welford here and a Williford here? Because it sounds like the same person. And President Smalls, it's good to see you here.
Likewise, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
As always.
Okay. Item 3. Oh, by the way, if we get another package, like we're volunteers, folks. We're volunteers, right? This is the package we have for homework. Get another one of these, we're going to unionize and go on strike. Shoo! Oh, item 3, parking and modification application, Redemption Community Church, 385 Main Street, filed by Redemption Community Church. Is there a spokesman here for this item? Okay.
Staff report.
Excuse me. Staff report.
Good evening.
Good
The
evening.
applicant, Redemption Community Church, is seeking approval of a parking waiver for 385 Main Street to operate a coffee shop and a small house of worship for approximately 10 members, and they usually have 8 to 12 people that attend the church on Sundays. They're proposing to operate Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. and also Friday and Saturdays at 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. for the coffee shop. And they're planning to have church services on Sunday from 11 to 12:30 p.m. According to the code, they would need 14 parking spaces. They have 5 currently on site, so they're asking for a waiver of 9 spaces. Due to the practical difficulties of the lot and the hard to park Main Street, they're asking for the waiver. It is recommended that the planning commission approve the application with the following conditions: that they must obtain historic district approval for signage and any exterior improvements. The applicant must receive a written agreement from PNC Bank to utilize their parking lot on Sundays before issuance of a use and occupancy permit. The parking spaces in the rear of the property must be striped, and the applicant also must require proper permits, and they're also planning to purchase this property, not rent it. Thank you.
Any questions from the staff?
Yes.
I don't mean from the staff, from the commissioners.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask Christian, the need for the 14 spaces, is that need based on the coffee shop occupancy or the church occupancy?
For both of the uses, for the coffee shop and for the church, it would be a total of 14 spaces needed.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Go, John.
What about parking for the 2 apartments upstairs?
I didn't factor those in since they were already there. For the apartments that are upstairs, I didn't factor those 2 parking spaces in since there was already 5 spaces on site.
Well, there's 1 or 2 bedroom apartments.
I believe they're 1 bedroom.
Any other question?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, please.
if I may, sir. Christian, I'm really curious regarding this, and I guess I'll address it to you, but also to the members of the commission. Parking being what it is presently on Main Street, and the fact that I think it's probably the mandate of most churches to grow. I mean, how do you foresee this parking waiver addressing the probable growth of the church in the future, given what's on Main Street available parking now?
Right. Based on when I spoke with the applicant, they're a pretty small congregation, and I'm not sure what their expansion plans are. Maybe they could speak more to that. But what I know for now, right now, that they're pretty much a small congregation with 10 members, and like I said, they usually have 8 to 12 attendees that come on Sunday. I know that they were trying to do something unique and different, where they wanted to have a coffee shop on Main Street, but also utilize the space for church on Sundays. So,
Is the applicant here?
yes, they are here.
Come on up to the microphone, please. State your name and address for the record.
My name is Jeremy Tynstra. I live at 6601 McCahill Drive, Laurel, Maryland 20707. And we have already received verbal permission from PNC Bank to park cars behind the bank since they're not open on Sunday. And any growth that would require more parking spaces would throw us out of that building, 385 Main Street. So we would look for some other place to worship and to gather when that eventuates, rent a place, rent a hall, something along those lines.
Okay. Any questions here?
Mr. Chairman, I'll just answer Mr. Smalls' question. We've already got, I don't know, what, four worship places on Main Street. Sundays, depending on where you are, it's a challenge, but I think it's a good fit. We've given waivers before and for lots of things on Main Street, so I think we all know what we're up against. The one question I had, and I had sent it earlier to staff on, and if I could address it to the applicant, is are we going to, or maybe to staff, are we going to do 2 UNOs or 1 UNO? 2, one for the coffee shop, one for the church?
It would be 2 UNOs.
Okay. All right. So I'm just trying to figure out how because the coffee shop's going to be a for-profit.
We're not sure yet. We have a meeting actually tomorrow with a coffee shop in DC with a similar model. And they have invested all their profits in not-for-profit organizations in their city. So we might just turn it around to be a benefit to Elizabeth House or Laurel's or whoever else can sell.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be up to the county to decide how it's labeled. Is that right, mister?
That's correct.
Okay. So, yeah, that'll be up to those guys to decide. But 2 UNOs, yeah, I'm fine with it. Thank you very much.
Clarify one other piece of information. So over the years, our church has reached homeless people primarily, and they don't drive cars. So being able to walk up to a location on Main Street has been a dream, a real helpful dream in comparison to sending a van out to pick people up at campsites and bring them back.
Where are you currently located?
4515 Sandy Spring Road in Burtonsville.
Oh, in Burtonsville.
We're selling that location and relocating into the city where we can be a little closer and have work every day instead of just on the weekend.
Anyone else up here have something? Bill? No? Okay, this surprised me. Please stay up at the mic. First I heard of the assembly in the back of the building was in reading this packet. Before there was talk about the coffee shop that I recall. And we acknowledge that there's crowded parking on Main Street. So it's catch as catch can regarding parking. Then I see here you've got a coffee shop in the front, a church assembly in the rear, 2 private units upstairs as apartments, and in the back there's already 2 cars back there, and room on the other side for parking. I don't see how you create. It just seems multiple uses for property. Where's the thinking about when you're going to grow? Why would you move into such a tiny space with so many requirements? Or someone's raising his hand. Please come up and tell us who you are.
I want to clarify the apartments. We're not going to continue those apartments. We're going to actually remove one of the apartments and use that space as a meeting room. And then the other side, where the apartment is being used now by an individual, he'll be moving out, and we're going to make office space in there for the employees. So we have 2 people.
Could you let us know your name and address just so that we can...
Jim Birchfield,
Thank you.
16119 Kenny Road.
Thank you.
Laurel, 20707.
Okay, thank you. You were going to say something?
Yeah, to further answer your question, on a Sunday right now, with the property that we have that has about 80 parking spots,
How many?
we use 5
80.
of them.
Okay.
We use 5.
As in Burtonsville.
That's correct. So our cars are out over the road picking up friends from apartments or at the diner or wherever we can. and we use 5 parking spots. So when we gather 15 to 20 people on a Sunday, including many of our homeless friends, we don't need more than 5 or 6 parking spots. And as I said earlier, PNC Bank has already given us verbal permission. The branch manager thought if you want written permission to use parking spots, then he has to escalate the request up his floor chart.
For clarification, either Director or President Smalls, I know there's modified parking, but what about multiple uses for such a small building?
I think that question is more appropriately answered by Mr. Brown.
Okay.
Well, this would be the first instance that I know of where we got so many uses in one building, which is why you would have to have separate UNOs for each use. As far as the use of the apartments upstairs for meeting rooms, you would have to meet ADA accessibility requirements. I don't know if you can do that, but that would be conditioned on your using that second floor. And according to the Land Development Code, in order to use the overflow parking at PNC, there has to be a written agreement between the two bodies. And I think that that's a condition of approval of the recommendation.
Why is this coming suddenly tonight, all this in one pot? And we're hearing now about the persons moving out who were upstairs. Doesn't that all get considered before you would make a decision or recommendation?
We would. This is the first I'm hearing
Yes.
about the conversion of the upper levels, so.
And this
That
is the
hasn't been
first I've heard
considered.
about. Who else heard about the, I remember something about a coffee shop. I don't remember anything about a church assembly in the rear of a building until I saw this. Am I the only one?
Well, just to clarify, if I may, the church would gather for its worship gathering in the coffee shop for 2 hours on Sunday. So we would convert the place where chairs and tables operate a coffee shop during the day through the week into a place of meeting on Sunday for 2 hours. So there's not a front and back or upper or lower for us. We're just looking at that main floor as the place where we would gather for worship gathering.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, actually, several of the agenda items are the first time, so I was going to thank staff because I thought the staff reports were fairly clear and concise in terms of helping to understand this. And I do think, I guess to Rick's point, that when I read about the coffee shop, that how, again, bringing things to Main Street and all of that, that it did fit, and our Main Street is very proud to have multiple worship areas and things like that. So, so again, my question was much more to just the parking and things like that. And I guess I would think that if you're taking one of the apartments out and moving it to office space, that then adds a parking space to them, because right now those 2 parking spaces, it's my understanding, are being used by the 2 apartments. So that's why. And so tonight, what is in front of us, just as clarification, Director, is the parking request for waiver. I mean, you still have a long road in terms of your use and occupancy and things like that. So
That is correct. It's for the parking waiver for the coffee shop. But this is the first time I've heard about converting the space of the coffee shop into the church use. Numbers were predicated on the fact that 1,000 feet was going to be for a coffee shop, 500 feet was going to be for a church. So if you use 1,500 feet for a church, then that throws off the computation of the amount of the waiver.
That's not our vision for parking at all. I hope you understand we're a small church and we pick up homeless people who don't have cars.
Appreciate the good work you're doing for the community and public welfare, but this is an incomplete. Your response is complete to what you knew about, but this is in addition to that. So should it be tabled or should we vote?
we also have
I have
one more
another
person
question.
signed up to speak.
Mr. Chairman, if I could offer
Sure.
a compromise to that. Right now, we have a staff report that asks for a waiver of, I've lost it, this paperwork, nine places.
9 places,
I think
yeah.
we could, if it's up, to call the chair, but we could vote on that And if that number needs to change because recalculation, then we can just bring it up to us next time. It might be a way to move the docket.
I'm all for that. John, go ahead.
I have a question. In the statement here, it says that the basement will be used only for storage. Is that correct?
That's our plan. We met with the fire marshal to inspect it, and it doesn't look like a place where we could gather. It may be a place for overflow seating or something like that that could be safe, depending on his judgment.
Well, there is a tenant in there now. Somebody is renting that basement now.
The basement
Correct.
is empty, and the drywall is cut open because of a burst pipe. There was a dance studio at one point, but it's no longer functioning in there. That's what we're aware of as we've inspected the property and eager to close.
Okay. Thank you.
We have one additional person. Did you want to speak? Okay.
Is that Jeremy?
Okay. No. Okay, great. But she said she's.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Please.
I'm just a bit confused.
Welcome to the club.
How do you separate and take action on a portion of the application and not the full application? I'm just as Commissioner Ricks or Wilson, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Commissioner suggested. How do you separate the two? And if you grant a parking waiver, you grant a parking waiver. If I'm not totally mistaken.
I think, Rick, if what I understood you were saying, he was saying vote on the whole thing, but we're voting on a parking waiver of 9 spaces. If staff ultimately finds out when they go to use and occupancy that it was not 9, it was something else, then that would be null and void. So we weren't, Rick, you were not proposing to split this. It was.
Correct.
Right now, the only thing in front of us is the 9-space waiver.
That's correct.
That's all. We've got multiple things.
That is correct.
As I'm reading the expression on your face,
I'm uncomfortable with that.
okay, welcome. Yeah, I said that already.
Well, if we don't have a quorum to move forward, well, I'll just make a motion that we'll table agenda item number 3 and take it up next time. You guys would like to do it that way.
I'll wait till I hear from some other commissioners about tabling.
I'm not in favor of tabling until I understand what we would table it for so that the applicant knows what they're coming back with or what they have to do in between time. Because, again, I think what's in front of us, I'm at least willing to vote it up or down.
Okay. We can go either way.
So, I mean,
John?
nobody seconded your table.
That's
Did anyone
fine.
second?
That's fine.
Did someone want
seconded.
to?
Move us
Was not
along.
seconded.
Do we have a motion then to approve 9 spots?
I haven't heard of. No motion to approve 9
Yes.
spots?
There we go.
It'll give us to do a vote. Mr. Chairman,
Please.
I make a motion to approve parking modification application for Redemption Community Church, 385 Main Street, filed by Redemption Community Church, and also including action on resolution number 15-12-PC.
I'll second.
Moved and second.
Mrs. Bettman?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Walford?
Yes.
Mr. Kish?
I'm going to vote no until I get more information about this.
Chairman Williford?
I'm voting no.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. One vote. Okay.
Number 7.
Oh, I thought I had 3 members.
Final action, you included the 1512, is that right?
She did.
Okay. You need to vote on that? Or is that included?
Included in the-
Okay, fine. So it carried. Oh, boy.
He'll be back for 7.
I hope. Okay, we're on item 7, Plat of Correction, Laurel Plaza Shopping Center, Fort Meade Road, filed by Kimco, Laurel, Inc. You got another doozy.
Yes, sir. What is before you is a correction to a record plat. There are 3 lines on the plat that they wish to extinguish and renumber the parcels C, D, and E. It does meet the requirements of the subdivision regulations. It is recommended that the City Planning Commission approve the plat of correction parcels C, D, and E for Laurel Plaza.
Any questions from the commission?
No, Mr. Chairman, this is one of 3, and I see we have people signed up, but I believe there are no questions for this one. This one may move. Any questions?
Does someone want to speak on this? Anyone wants to speak on this one? Is there anyone here on this item?
Yes, there are
Which
2
one?
people for all 3 of them.
Oh, it's 7, 11, and 15, both people, same people.
But I don't think you need any of them. John, do you?
Does anyone have a need for clarification on this?
No, this is
Yeah.
an easy one.
I have several on the others, so.
Okay, let's have a motion then.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to approve the resolution, the plat of correction, Laurel Plaza Shopping Center, and also to include the action of resolution number 15-01-PC.
Right.
I'll second that,
Second,
Mr. Chairman.
moved and seconded, please call roll.
Mr. Walford,
Yes.
Mr. Kish,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mrs. Bettman,
Yes.
Chairman Williford.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, that's it. Okay, 11. Okay, we're up to agenda item 11, site and landscape plan for relocation of freestanding ATM at the Laurel Plaza Shopping Center, Fort Meade Road, filed by Kimco Laurel, Inc. Who's here to explain that to the staff presentation?
Yes, sir. The applicant has applied for a site and landscape plan for Kimco Laurel, Inc. to construct a drive-up ATM at Laurel Plaza Shopping Center. If you're familiar with the site, currently the ATM is located next to Carroll Western Wear. They're going to demolish that and move that up parallel to State Road 198. There was a traffic impact study done, and based on the field data, the maximum queues of 6 vehicles was realized on a weekday and 8 vehicles on a Saturday. Approximately 160 feet for the relocated drive-up ATM will be adequate to serve the ATM traffic without impacting on-site or off-site traffic. It is recommended the Planning Commission approve the site and landscape plan for Kimco Laurel, Inc. in order to construct an ATM drive-up at the shopping center parking lot. And the applicant is here if you have any questions, Mr. Chairman.
You were also requiring that they provide drive-through information on the ATM volume, right?
I'm sorry?
You were requesting documents on the drive-through information for the ATM volume?
Yes, they did provide that. That's what I just read. They came back with the revised ATM vehicle data showing that the queuing that was questioned by Public Works Department is sufficient to meet the anticipated demand.
Okey doke. Any more discussion on this matter?
I have some questions.
Please
for
do.
For the applicant, I think.
Yes.
More than- Could you state your name?
Yes, good evening. My name is Scott Barhite. I'm an attorney at Webber, Taylor & Preston with offices in Towson at 1 West Pennsylvania Avenue. And I'm here with our team with any of the questions that you might have regarding item number 11, and then later we were going to make a brief presentation about the special exception case as well. If any questions you might have, we'd be happy to.
I think just a few.
Go for it.
We had kind of a grainy picture that we received on the drive up, but it is just on one side. It's not two, correct? It looked like, so there's one row of cars going in there. Then the other question I had, oh, that would be great. The only other question I had is how many, I've gone there, drive by there quite a bit, and today spent some time in the parking lot trying to figure out how many parking spaces are we losing in the parking lot? It seems that in front of Sullivan's and Planet Fitness, and I know you don't go down that far for this, those areas are almost always jam-packed. And so it appears that you're going to be taking out quite a bit of parking to get this in. And I just didn't know whether the number of parking spaces that were coming out were figured in.
The short answer is yes. Let me get you where the main road, and this is the area of the ATM, which will only be one-sided. And of course, we're already putting in islands in the drive-through lane, as you see, so there will be some configuration of the striping and the paving. There's going to be additional landscaping as shown on this plan as well. And it's my understanding that our engineer, Matt Jones, actually went out and did the counts to make sure that we had adequate parking after the fact.
Well, can you just tell me how far down does this new area go? Does it go all the way? Oh, it does. It goes all the way to the traffic light. So it goes all the way past Sullivan's and the second buffet in there.
Your finger on the light, right?
This is at the light.
That's the one that goes into Home Depot.
And then as we got the actual traffic report and how much stacking and then what we did was create a true drive lane over to the traffic light. And then pulled all the driving to the ATM inside so nobody's interfering with that driveway.
Oh, no, it looked good. The only reason I'm asking is also then when we go to the WaWa presentation and driving that, it looks like when you're going to come in off of Irving Street now, you're going to be almost going left down towards that thrift store. So a whole lot more parking's coming out on that second one. So,
I guess to answer the question very cleanly is the existing parking field was significantly overparked.
oh, yeah. At the end you're going in is almost always empty.
So,
At the end you're...
when we modified it and reallocated and did the WaWa location and the ATM and the distribution with the retail with the Old Country Buffet and the furniture back here, bottom line is we certainly, as retail operators, we're very comfortable how we dispersed it, but we still have significantly over. We have additional parking spaces that needed than what's required.
Okay, and that would be my question to staff was, did you do a recount of the actual parking required for the square footage of the retail when you put the WaWa, the thrift, and all of that? And we're good with that?
That's already on the plan.
And Mr. Jones did that count himself.
Okay.
And that's
Thank you very much.
Yes,
that was all the questions I had. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Are we ready for a vote?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, please.
I would move that we approve the site and landscape plan for Kimco Laurel Incorporated relocation of the ATM for Carol's Western Wear to Laurel Plaza parking lot and the staff report there too, and include resolution number 15-02-PC as well.
Moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes?
Mrs. Bettman?
Yes.
Mr. Walford?
Yes.
Mr. Kish?
Yes.
Chairman Williford?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay. I told you we volunteers are going to go on strike and form a union if we get another package this heavy.
Mayor said he'd give us a raise.
Yes, I thought of that too. That's
You're going to double our pay.
Yeah.
I got mine last week.
Man, oh man. We're up to item 12, hearing
15.
application, 14, action 02, PC. On the other side, special exception application number 841, WaWa gas station complex at the Laurel Plaza Shopping Center, Fort Meade Road, followed by Kimco Laurel. Excuse my voice and manner of speaking. I'm recovering from a stroke I had in September, so bear with me. I still have a...
Yeah.
Okay.
8 years.
Okay, staff report.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is the third application for Kimco. They are requesting a special exception number 841 to construct a WaWa gas station complex and convenience store with associated parking, drive aisles, and landscaping. I won't read the staff report since it's so long, but they do meet the conditions of the special exception that are contained in the Unified Land Development Code. There was one issue with the driveway coming from Irving Street into the shopping center. The plans were changed. It's not going to be a two-way, it'll be a one-way in only. No right turns out. And although we sent the traffic study to the State Highway Administration, they have not responded. Therefore, it is recommended that the Planning Commission recommend approval of the applicant to the City of Laurel Board of Appeals. The applicant will be responsible for any improvements required by the State Highway Administration.
Any questions?
No.
You sure?
Mr. Chairman, if I could just ask just a clarifying question. Mr. Brock, you mentioned
Feel free.
about one ingress egress. Is that
Irving Street driveway.
right? That's the only one?
Yes, sir. They had proposed a change, making that two-way. Public Works came back and said that was an issue before with the State Highway Department on 197, 198, and Irving. The applicant has gone back and changed that back to a one-way in only, and it'll be so signed. There will be no exit, no
But
right turn.
Just,
Irving Street.
but there are two entrances to the
light's the
WaWa.
other
You can enter the WaWa going westbound on 198. It's a current, no access points that said we're changing, so it's that one.
The light.
And then, or you can go up, come in right at WaWa, so.
Irving and then the traffic light, two entrances.
No, it's prior, it's about 300 yards probably prior to the traffic light. It's before Carroll's Western where you have to turn in.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to see it again. 'cause
It's
I'm-
not, it's not.
That's that one where you go and turn like this.
One is.
Take us, take me
Show him where the traffic
197
light
is where I
The
want.
light is right here.
Oh, you're down
No,
there.
no, go to the other one.
Up here.
That one,
Yeah.
yeah.
This is the one-way.
Yes, yes.
And it will remain one.
One way, yes.
This is a
That's
way,
the other
which is
entrance.
only a
It
right in,
takes you
right
right
out.
in
know
at
that one, other than the
Country
light.
Buffet. No, that's not the light.
This is the one way, this is right in, right out, and this is a full movement at this traffic light.
So they're all the existing, so you're not proposing any new curb cuts?
They're all
Okay,
existing.
that was my major
That's
concern.
correct. Yes. Just trying to clear the full.
Will you service tractor trailers for gas in there?
Yes.
Okay, that entrance is, people try to come out and make it all the way across to this, all the way over to the light. It's a,
And we certainly have done the template with all of the gas tanks and moving them through there very safely.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, please.
I don't know if this is for the applicant or for Mr. Brock. Mr. Brock, my recollection is that the crosswalk there is to cross 198 is whatever you call it, the crosswalk with the pedestrian.
Yes.
But that's on the west side. There's not one on the east side. Yeah.
Can you see from there, should we-
No,
no, it's east. It's east.
can see that there's here's
Not that one.
Oh,
Go
it
to the
is.
next
I was
one. It
worried
is
about
on
this
the
one.
east.
over here.
I was
It's on
worried
the
about
east
this one.
side.
It's on the east side. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
because everybody else is going up and left.
I just want to make sure because you guys will be attracting pedestrian traffic and.
Yes.
Yeah, before we started this packet, I had a head full of hair. No more.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
That was a concern of mine also, and even though it has those, it's already been answered when someone mentioned, I think Mr. Brock mentioned that would fall under the state roads guidelines, and you would have to, whatever they come up with, have to abide by them. But even though it has those timed crossings, the markings on the road has no high visibility decorative crosswalk as suggested by Public Works, I believe it was. And they're really bad. And like Mr. Wilson said, the foot traffic coming in there from Stewart Manor, Stewart Towers, Laurel Pines is going to be incredible, the foot traffic coming over there. It's already a bad intersection, but I think that's been answered. My other concern is about on page 7 of the application, number 6, it reads, if adjacent to residentially zoned property, the site shall be adequately screened with barriers of such dimensions that occupants of adjacent and facing residential structures are not unreasonably disturbed either by day or night, movement of vehicles, lights, so forth. And then the answer to that is the gas station complex is not adjacent to residentially zoned property. As this is true, it's not adjacent. It is right across the street from that Irving Street neighborhood entrance. And with all of the landscaping that's proposed, I was wondering if the WaWa Corporation could continue some of that landscaping across the street to both sides of Irving to enhance the entrance to that neighborhood as a good neighbor.
Where, can you just point to the location that you're referring to?
Well, it's right where the other entrance comes out, right here.
Right.
This is Irving.
Yes.
And then this corner right here and that corner right there. Just either some kind of landscaping or fencing, something like that, just to kind of make that neighborhood known as you're entering a street there with children and everything else for the extra traffic that's going to be coming out of WaWa and heading down Irving Street.
They can only come in there, but
Come in.
Well, they can turn right on off of 198 and cut through like we always do.
you can't
Come out.
you can't go out.
Right, but you can enter it from 198.
Yeah.
And here's the point with that. One is, it's really easy for me to put additional landscaping on my property. It's really hard for me to put additional landscaping on somebody else's property.
Right, I think some of that is actually state-owned or city-owned. Some of that, I don't think the houses there at the end of Irving, I don't know that their property line goes all the way to the curb.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the aerial here. And there.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, the microphone's not picking him up.
Oh, he's
Turn your light
No,
on.
it's not picking up Mr. Glazer.
Oh,
Sorry.
Thank you.
No problem.
thanks.
So, that part of the property presently has 4 large trees at the corner, and we are going to be looking at trying to tighten up a little bit that road network to make it feel much more like a single lane, as I spoke with one neighbor earlier before the hearing, because some people still think it's two-way and some people are coming out when they're not supposed to. So what we're going to look at is trying to choke that down a little bit tighter, and we're going to look at seeing how we can maybe we'll talk with the neighbors over there on that, but it's worthwhile having that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is
Never
just
came that
a
way. Go
question
ahead.
as far as the current tenant. Is Carol's relocating somewhere, or are they?
Carol is under contract to us. They are retiring.
Okay.
And we're trying to clean up that whole corner.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry, just one other. Your anticipated timing, not that impacts the vote or anything. I was just curious as a resident.
timing is depending, we're ready to move pretty quickly here. Our desire is to move quickly. One of the critical pieces here is to get the results back from State Highway.
Great, that's true. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Open public.
Anything from the public on this particular item? Please come up and state your name and address and your concerns.
My name is Todd Bentley. I live at 117 Irving Street, which is on the right-hand side as you're coming from Charles Weston, where about 10 houses up on the right at the crosswalk is where I live. I've been there for 13 years. The concern was what he talked about earlier was we got the dual lanes going in, and it's always used as the road coming out. And if there's some way to make that wide but not look like it's 2 lanes, that would be wonderful. You know, and I've been in a lot of WaWas, and they're all pretty high quality, you know, well lit, usually clean. So I was concerned on how much traffic it's going to bring to that corner. Because if you see right now, it's parked on both sides, 1 lane going each way, and then it gets down to the light, and there's people parked in the corner. It becomes 1 lane into 3 lanes, and it's kind of tough. And concerned about that traffic there because my neighbor, 2 houses up during the summer, head on because people making that left-hand turn into that road there, and he was coming the other way, and you know he was injured pretty badly. And you might know him, Cecil. So I was just concerned about. We have not seen any plans for that corner down there or anything like that, and it's definitely going to bring a lot more pedestrian traffic and a lot more automobile traffic. And I didn't know it was going to be serviced by, big diesel tractor trailers and stuff like that. So we understand that they're going to bring the gas in, but I don't think it's a truck stop, right?
No,
just automobiles only. So.
Can you address his concerns, please?
Well,
Sure. No, as I mentioned a minute ago, we spoke before, and I think they're all valid issues. And I think what we will do, as this shows very clearly, this is wide enough for 2 lanes. We've talked about, and as he said, you're going to have a lot more foot traffic, which is what we want to get into the center and get the activity, and what the city wants. So we're going to look at trying to reduce that down, maybe put a sidewalk there, use it for a good purpose, that they as a community can come into the center safely, and it tightens up that. So as we said, we can't control people that don't follow instructions well in driving out when they're supposed to only drive in.
Right.
So we may, and what we also want to do is enhance the signage closer to this throat that really makes it very clear, do not enter. And put it on the pavement. As I met with the traffic engineer when we were just talking, we're going to put some paving marking there also, if they want to read.
Right.
Then comes back Mr. Wilson with wanting to do a little bit of extra right there at that entrance. Right. I mean, if you did make a curve there, because now the curve stops at the driveway, to bring that around and close it up a little bit there, that could be a safer solution than what's there now.
Yes.
And we'll reach out to the adjacent property owner there.
I really like it.
And if we have to tie something in, we'll work with them.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
It addressed one of my concerns too, because again, Irving Street and Laurel Police, every once in a while, you'll see them sitting on Irving Street, watching somebody to come out of there. So when you addressed that was one of the questions that I had was, how do you help control, but a sidewalk or something else, improving that area? And you've got a lot of development, it looks like, because that's going to actually change. You're not going to come in and, right now it's easy because it's straight across. It's no longer, you're going to come in and you're going to be going around. So it'll also be less attractive for people to try and get out that way because they would have to be going around. You can get copies of the plans from the staff if you would like.
I haven't seen it yet. None of my neighbors.
They're pretty exciting to look at. We got very good ones.
So I was wondering, you're okay for them to approve to go forward? Is that what this meeting is for? Is that?
It goes to the council.
We'll go to the council.
So, okay, that's all right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. For clarification, everyone up here except me grew up here. Uh-oh. He's on city council. We're all volunteers. I've been here since 1991. When I look at a site, it's based on the staff report. When they look at the site, they see the people walking in, turning around, up and down. Thank you very much. Ready for a motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I move for approval of special exemption application number 841, WaWa Gas Station Complex, Laurel Plaza Shopping Center, Fort Meade Road, filed by Kimco Laurel Incorporated for recommendation to the Board of Appeals.
Okay.
Second that.
Motion and second. Did you hear the second, Susan?
Yes. Mrs. Bettman?
Sarah.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Kish?
Yes, Susan.
Mr. Welford?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Welford?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Chairman Williford?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Boy, you're cruel. You're cruel. Thank you. Thank you very much. Keep the troops informed. I'm going to make my confession. I've never gone into that place. Off Irving Street? Off Irving Street, I've gone into it, but I've never come out other than the Except I'm a newcomer.
Well, but that's,
I didn't know all this other stuff.
that's the safest way.
The only way I did. Oh, God. So where are we now? 15, 16. McDonald's. Let's see if I got that handy.
Thank you very much.
See ya.
Okay. Item 16, variance application number 842, McDonald's at 14810 Baltimore Avenue, filed by McDonald's USA LLC for recommendation to the Board of Appeals. Who's got that? Oh, Robert. Okay.
Yes, this is for recommendations on developmental variances with the detailed site and landscape plan. McDonald's is looking to modernize their restaurant, and they're looking to remove the building and put another building in its place. Now, the current size is about 4,000 square feet, and the proposed building size is only increasing to 4,400 square feet. It's going to be one story. The access is going to continue from the rear, from Baltimore, as well as from the town center side. But with the redesign, what they would like to do is bring the traffic from the town center to wrap around in front of the restaurant. Currently, the parking layout prevents customers from driving around and accessing the menu board.
Can you say that again? I've read the report. I cannot follow that. I
yes.
apologize.
Well, right now, the layout is there's parking in front of McDonald's, which prevents vehicles from driving in front of the restaurant. But with the proposed layout, with the redesign, there's going to be space for vehicles coming from the town center to drive in front of McDonald's, wrap around in order to access the drive-through menu.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Were you done? I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
Go ahead.
Yes. Another change is they would like to have side-by-side ordering windows and then as the vehicles come around, there'll be 3 windows to process the orders quickly. Now, this went to the Public Transportation and Safety Committee, and with the focus on the driving, processing more vehicles on the site, the police chief was worried about when the vehicles exit McDonald's on Baltimore Avenue, about vehicles continuing to turn north against the southbound traffic. The police department stated that there was 15 accidents from 2013 to 2014 on Baltimore Avenue in front of McDonald's. And as a result, the Public Safety Committee recommended that supported the plan, but they recommended that the exit on Baltimore be southbound only.
It may be the placement.
Letters were mailed to the surrounding owners, and a public notice sign was placed on the property. There was only one response. Someone asked to review the file in the department. Staff is recommending the City of Laurel Planning Commission forward a favorable recommendation with a condition for south exit only on Baltimore Avenue to the City Board of Appeals, approving the following developmental variances with the detailed site and landscape plan. There's a 21 feet front building setback variance to locate the proposed building 29 feet from the front property line on Baltimore Avenue. 2, a 22 feet south side building setback variance to locate the building 28 feet from the south property line. 3, there's a 25 feet parking space and driving aisle front setback variance. 4, there's a 10 feet parking space and driving aisle side yard setback variance. And 5, a 10-foot parking space and driving aisle rear yard setback variance. A favorable recommendation is based on the following. First, the strict application of these regulations would result in unusual practical difficulties on the site. The property boundary is not changing from its recorded date in 1968. The proposed building is nearly identical in size as the current building. The current building side yard setbacks and all of the parking and driving aisles do not conform to the 2012 Unified Land Development Code. If the proposed building was relocated to meet the front setback, a rear setback variance would be required to conform to the code. Second, the variances to allow the proposed development are the minimal and similar to the existing setbacks of the current development, except for the building front yard setback. Third, the variances will allow the commercial use of the property to continue as recommended in the City of Laurel Comprehensive Land Use Plan. Fourth, the variances will not be detrimental to neighboring properties. The property is surrounded by commercial properties. The variances will promote public safety. Now, currently, there's parking spaces adjacent to Baltimore Avenue. With the proposed, in order for the current vehicles to reverse, they're reversing almost onto Baltimore Avenue. But with the parking layout redesign, it'll relocate the existing parking spaces further away from Baltimore Avenue. The variances will allow internal vehicle circulation within the site, and developmental variances with the condition for the south exit only promotes public safety for the general welfare. That concludes my presentation.
Any questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Feel free. Go ahead.
So, just a clarification on the recommendation with a condition for south exit only on Baltimore Avenue. I was reading that incorrectly, I think, as a south exit as the only exit was going to be on Baltimore Avenue. Will the current entrance and exit into the town center, will that remain?
Yes.
So in the back, that will remain. And I guess my only other question is on site plan 3 of 7 still shows the north and south. Does that need to be corrected before signing, or if we say that southbound only? It has the.
Yes.
It'll be redone.
Yes.
Okay.
Any more questions? Yes, sir.
I think our good colleague, the late Mr. Brindle, would be bothered with me if I didn't ask this question. Just in terms of this design, is this the only design for this McDonald's that is presented? I'm just curious. Knowing that there are other, and I guess I'll just, for my own information, if the commissioners will indulge me, is there ever an opportunity for a commission or staff to see more than one design for a proposed project? Or is it, this is what the applicant presents, this is, what you get if you approve it? I'm just curious.
Walgreens, yes.
Yeah, normally they just submit one, but yes, there are other iterations that you could request that they come back. I know in one instance I had a McDonald's that was going in a historic district, and the siding was not appropriate. We made it put red brick on it.
Mhm.
So yes, that is within your purview.
And I'm not suggesting that the commission do that, but I just want to, sort of bring forward for the record that, there are many, 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 many other designs, and just kind of keeping in mind what the city is striving to look like along Route 1. Because it's our city center and that sort of thing. That,
I appreciate
we may
that.
not want to take the only choice that's presented by the applicant, not just for this project, for any
any
others.
project.
That's
I
that's my 2
appreciate
cents.
that, and we did that on Walgreens. If
we did.
we asked for multiples coming back, so I also did some driving around to look at some McDonald's, and I actually really like this one. So, but I appreciate you reminding us of that, because we do have that opportunity. But with this, I did not have an issue.
And other places, other cities I've driven through, I think it has to do with new construction where they comply with the architecture that's there.
Yes.
Anybody else have questions?
Mr. Chairman, I just have a question. I'm trying to find it on my own, but maybe Mr. Brock or Mr. Namus can. What does this change the parking? I know it's not going to really matter, but it's got to knock quite a bit of the parking out, right?
Yes. Yes.
Is that in the report and I just missed it?
Yes. There's 37 parking spaces currently, and they're reducing it to 16 parking spaces.
And do we have any other ordinances did we have to waive that, or is that good enough?
It meets the parking requirements.
Okay.
It's based upon seats, and
Okay.
so they're dropping from like 90 seats down to 60 seats.
Okay. I mean, there's no place else to park, so it's not going to matter, right? If they drive in and they want to park and there's no parking, they're going to Burger King, right?
Yeah.
So it's really on the applicant on that one. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Well, where else are you going to go?
That's right.
Just
Right across
say,
the street.
pay your money and take your chances. Like half-assed?
You're on a roll tonight, Mr.
No,
Chairman.
I'm not. Struggling here.
Give me some of that medication.
Can we have a motion, please? Yes, it is.
Yes.
Bob DePietro, 502 Gorman Avenue. I represent Greenberg Gibbons Builders of the Town Center. So I have a couple quick questions. If the right turn only on the southbound lane is what that drive aisle is going to look like, can anybody tell me if they've done an interest study to our property of how many people are going to try to come out and come to our traffic light at the Main Street section of the Town Center in order to get to a traffic light to go northbound, which would be at the intersection of the Steakhouse and BJ's and Mission Barbecue. You know where I'm talking about. The end of that drive aisle is in only, not out. So if you would come out of the back of McDonald's, you'd have to drive up to Burlington, make a left, go through the circle, through the second circle, and out the front. I'm just wondering if anybody's looked at that traffic pattern, because it's tough to get out of there.
Mr. DePietro, I don't know if anybody's looked at it, but I know what I would do. I would go out the back, turn right, and come out in front of the auto parts store.
Or come out of the auto parts store, which is Federal Realty property. I'm just curious if that's been looked at all, because that has an effect on how we're laying out commercial buildings in our project. I just want to make sure that's covered. The two entities are trying to work together on landscaping the rear of the shopping center from the town center. So, we welcome the fact that McDonald's is going to be new. I'm not suggesting that at all. I just want to make sure that we don't have an issue with all the traffic coming out of the back. Certainly the locals are going to come out of the back. Okay? Nobody's going to try to make a right turn or a left turn out of the front of McDonald's if you live on the west side of the shopping center. You're going to come out the back. so I'm just curious if we've looked at how that affects the town center's traffic and the cut through between the two centers.
I had thought about that, and I thought perhaps that was a desired effect that town center would like to have, having some extra customers drive through and perhaps stop at another store after they've been to McDonald's.
I'll just make an observation, being on the site at least 5 out of 7 days a week. Between Panera, the steakhouse, BJ's, and that bottom, there is no parking in that entire field behind us on most weeknights and particularly the weekend. And the traffic is extremely heavy in that rear. But I have a concern that if you come out of the back and make a left, thinking you can go past the steakhouse to get to our traffic light, that's one way coming in. And we have a lot of people, that intersection is very rough right there as it is now because people coming from the Burlington side are trying to go out that entrance on a regular basis, despite the fact we have 2 big signs up there that says, do not enter. So, again, on traffic volume alone, I'm just curious if anybody's looked at it.
Jack?
Short answer, no. However, we did send the plans to SHA. They came back and said that any change to the driveway there at McDonald's would require the McDonald's to come to them for a permit.
Wouldn't the fact that they have 2 existing drive aisles, which means they had access permits from the 60s, as far as I know, those don't go away. I mean, I don't think the state highway could change either one of those entrances.
Well, no, they wouldn't, but they could prevent a right turn only.
They could. I understand that, but and we have no SHA report on it.
No.
Because as you know, they made us widen the right lane on the Cherry Lane entranceway because the traffic was already overbought. And now what we're saying is we're going to have right turn only coming out of McDonald's, and would increase that lane to the right lane.
Well, that was the recommendation of the Public Works Department.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing I was thinking is that if it's locals, we're going to do as we would normally do, to your point. And if you're not, I don't know that they would understand where in the world they would get if they went back into that shopping center if they had to go out. But the reason I asked about the entrance and the egress, because I remember, again, bringing up Carl's name again, talking about McDonald's and going in and out of town center as you all were doing your overall design. So did you all probably looked at some of that traffic as you were building that, because that entrance and exit was staying. So do you see it change? Do you think it'll really change that much?
Well, obviously, if you're going to upgrade the McDonald's, because they're apparently tearing it down, building a new building,
correct,
to attract a bigger base. I'm sure McDonald's not investing money to decrease business; they want to increase business, which is good. And all, and as I'm telling you, we welcome the improvements. What I'm concerned about is the town center getting tagged on the west side town traffic if you're coming out the back, because you have this right turn entrance that they don't clog up the middle of the town center, nor does the 4th Street Green Hill Avenue now start carrying the load of that traffic once they find out you can't make that turn at the internal intersection. I'm just raising it as a concerned issue. We don't oppose it, welcome it, think it's wonderful. Anything new is good. I just hope we think about how that traffic movement is going to take place.
For me, it's Jack. Can you speak to Bobby's concerns?
Can I just make?
Oh, sure. Please, who are you?
Dan Lynch with McNamee Hosey here on behalf of McDonald's. I want to make a couple of points. First of all, when we first approached your planning staff with this proposal, the first issue they raised was they wanted to make sure that we left that inter-parcel access open. They thought that was very, very important to both McDonald's as well as the town center, having the ability to go from one commercial piece to another without getting back out onto Baltimore Avenue. So that was the first thing we did, and we accommodated that. As a matter of fact, the design that we put forward here today, as indicated by staff, is that we're moving our building closely to Baltimore Avenue. one of the reasons why we're doing that is to keep that access open and to keep a safer flow of traffic between two properties. So we did that, and staff, again, has been supporting us since we did that from the get-go. I'm not quite sure what the issue is with regard to State Highway Administration and grandfathering access permits. We will have to get access permits from State Highway Administration if we're going to be doing any improvements within their right-of-way. It's not just, for instance, you get permits to access your site. It's for doing actual work in the right-of-way. And I'm assuming that we are doing work in the SHA right-of-way here. Yes, we are. And we will have to get those access permits. There are some solutions to this. We can come up with those solutions. Again, we did not suggest the right-in, right-out only. That was in response to your Public Safety Committee, and we had with us here today, we did revise it. The plan that we brought up here today, the marked up rendering, that does show the limited access back onto Route 1, and we will submit that to staff, and they'll have that prior signature approval. No one has done any traffic studies. Staff indicated that, so we anticipate that for a site plan such as this. Yes, we'll probably be generating more traffic, but again, the idea was to keep the ability to go from one site to the other, and we thought that was very beneficial. Again, I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Also,
stay there a minute, please.
Sure.
Based on your comments, Mr. Petrus' question, and what's your response to that? Because I was lost where Bobby was talking about.
I'm not certain I understand. You're providing an additional egress design?
No, he was just saying
No, we did revise the plan to address the issues placed on by public safety.
Okay.
In response to my question. Could you state your first name again? I had Lynch. Dan?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, Robert tells me they had already revised the plan, so he had seen this.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So again, if there's any questions regarding this, if the parcel access, we have to address those.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
Oh, wow. Any more questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I will move to recommend for approval variance application number 842 McDonald's at 14810 Baltimore Avenue, as filed by McDonald's with the including the staff report and the recommendations there too.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Bettman?
Yes.
Mr. Walford?
Yes.
Mr. Kish?
Yes.
Chairman Williford?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Oh, boy. I still don't know what Bobby was talking about. I don't even know that area. I haven't been up there in all that. 18. Only up to 18?
17.
We're up on 17. Okay. Item 17, map amendment number 843-7003 Van Dusen Road to rezone the property from R5, one family detached, to MXT, mixed use transportation oriented zone, filed by H.H. Hunt for recommendation to the mayor and city council. Okay.
Good evening. The applicant, H.H. Hunt, is seeking map amendment approval to conceptualize MXT designation for ordinance number 1834 in hopes to construct the assisted living facility. The subject property consists of approximately 13 acres and is known as Lot 1 and 2 and tax parcel 13, located at the intersection of Van Dusen and Conti Roads, also known as 7003 Van Dusen Road. The property was annexed into the city in 2008 and was also part of the Anderson's Corner annexation. And they were placed in the R5 zone from the county, and they wanted to be placed in the MXT zone. They couldn't get placed in the MXT zone right away because of county legislation, and they had a 5-year hold on it. But since the 5 years has passed, they're looking to be placed into the MXT zone. And they're also in the process with doing this rezoning. They want to get a concept approval plan for assisted living facility, which I will speak about next. And the applicant is here to discuss it and show you via PowerPoint their vision for the project, and is recommended that you, the City of Laurel Planning Commission, recommend to the Mayor, City and Council approval for the project, map amendment number 843, ordinance number 1834. Thank you.
Okay, any questions?
I'd like to see the proposal.
Please, state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Eric DeVito. I'm a land use attorney with office in 1025 Thomas Jefferson Street in Washington, D.C. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, H.H. Hunt. Also, the rest of our development team is here with me, the engineers, traffic engineer, Mr. DePietro, Mr. Bo Cook, and Mr. Tom Hudson for H.H. Hunt. The items 17 and 18 are together. You know, right now we're on item 17, which is the map amendment application, and we can address that first. And most of the slides will run to, actually, you can go to the second slide. This basically is the only one that goes with the map amendment because it's identifying the properties that we're asking to be placed in the MXG zone. By way of background, as Christian noted, these properties were annexed into the city in 2008. And if you recall the Anderson's Corner project, which I actually had the pleasure of being there represented well with Mr. Gibbs, who's here tonight. Good to see him again. We did something similar. Those properties were rezoned to MXT before the two subject properties that are before you now, but that's only because they basically came to realization of what the project would be a little earlier than this one. When Anderson's Corner first came in, too, it came in as R5. It was basically the equivalent city zone from the county zone when it was annexed. And then as the process went, as they were waiting out the 5-year hold, as Christian recommended, then at some point in the process, came before you, went through the map amendment, switched to MXT to trigger the zone that basically is the zone that the city's identified in the master plan. It identified it for Anderson's Corner. It also identifies it for these properties here. They are in the city's master plan as MXT zone properties. We're just simply triggering the map amendment to effectuate the zone that's already been identified for them in the city. In our application that we submitted to the city, our map amendment application, there's a detailed justification statement. I won't read all that to you, but we go through all the points of law that are required to be hit in order to qualify for this map amendment revision. It's not a typical rezoning. It's actually it's a triggering of that MXT that's already been designated for the properties. I'm happy to go further now and answer any questions now, or if you prefer, maybe it makes more sense to handle the questions with regard to the actual use we're proposing, which would be the assisted living facility with the MXT application, because at this point in time, the map amendment strictly is just that, triggering the zone that's necessary in order to take the next steps to file the plan for the use of the assisted living. The assisted living is a special exception use allowed under the MXT zone. So first step, the map amendment to trigger the MXT zone. Next step would be the MXT application for the conceptual site plan, and then of course we'd have to be back in front of the Board of Appeals for a special exception and then final site plan. So many steps along the way. We're basically at step one with the map amendment application.
Okay. Thank you.
Chair-
Go ahead, please.
Do you have a question? I was going to say, if there are no questions, I would like to move approval of agenda item 17, map amendment number 843-7003 Van Dusen Road to rezone the property from R5 one family detached to MXT mixed use transportation oriented zone, filed by H.H. Hunt for recommendation to the mayor and city council.
Mr. Chairman, I will second, but before I do, I just wanted to make sure that we just ask if there's anybody here that wanted to speak on this. Do we have anybody else?
Thank you, Rick.
That wanted to speak on this?
Here's not.
Seeing none, I'll second that motion.
Mrs. Bettman?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Welford?
Yes.
Mr. Kish?
Yes.
Chairman Williford?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Here we go now. that 18? John? Are we on
18. You're
18
correct.
now, the conceptual plan application number 844703 Van Dusen Road, Spring Arbor Assisted Living Dwelling, filed by H.H. Hunt for recommendation to the mayor and city council. Who's speaking on that? You again, Christian?
Yes, sir. Good evening again. The applicant, H.H. Hunt, is seeking MXT concept approval in order to construct an assisted living facility. They're proposing to have a facility up to 100 dwelling units on a 105 square feet structure on lots 1 and 2 of the property. And like Eric said, this is the beginning stages. This is just concept approval. And if this is approved, they will have to get final MXT approval as well as special exception approval from the Board of Appeals. So it is recommended that the City of Laurel Planning Commission recommend to the Mayor and City Council that the concept plan for Spring Arbor be approved with the following conditions. The applicant must obtain special exception approval to construct the assisted living facility. The applicant must receive final MXT site plan approval, The applicant must address all comments from the Public Works Department on their memo dated February 19, 2015. The applicant must receive forest conservation approval. The applicant must receive stormwater management approval from Prince George's County, and the applicant must receive water and sewer approval from Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission, known as WSSC. And Eric, I think now is going to continue on his presentation and show you a little bit more about what their communities look like.
Okay. Questions from the commissioners?
Nope. Is this entire space? Oh, I'm not. Is the entire L lot 2 with the exception of just that little lot 1? All the rest is lot. There are only 2 lots that we're looking at.
Eric DeVito.
Go ahead.
What you're looking at right there is basically 2 different parcels. There's about a 4-acre piece which is made up of lot 1 and lot 2, which is the Reese Daly parcel. That's what you're pointing at. Then there's a 9-acre parcel below it. Yes, that rectangle is about a 9-acre piece known as the Young parcel. So two different ownership parcels, but the Reese Daly is called lot 1.
Okay, so I apologize. I'm still confused.
Don't apologize.
If you're the parcel that fronts onto Conti Road,
Yes.
is that just a rectangle that comes straight back?
Yes.
Okay, so that's one.
Yeah.
And then the part that fronts Van Dusen,
Yes.
there are 2 lots
2
there?
lots, yes, but it's the same people own it right now. There's a house and a garage on it right now.
So I guess one of my questions maybe to staff, we just rezoned all of this. Have we ever voted to combine these lots? And do we need to? Because one of my questions on this one is, we didn't ever had a sign posted on at least not that I saw for this hearing, or anything posted on the Conti Road side. We only had it on the Van Dusen side. That's why I wasn't sure where these lots went. But what is the projection for what's facing Conti? And I know Conti's going to change there.
Can you go to the third?
Sorry.
That's right. No.
And actually, what I will do too is, here are hard copies. Slides saying if we.
Thank you.
Trying to help my headache.
This is really
Look here.
all the,
Right?
yeah, and this is Van Dusen.
So looking back at the rectangular piece, you're saying that frontage on T. The only reason it's really being included, well, one, we're triggering the MXT zone because right now there's no plan really for what's going on in that property. But in terms of the assisted living use that we're proposing, all that's really proposed right now is an easement for stormwater management on it, which you can see from this graphic, which is the green area at the bottom.
Right.
Basically to free up the site a little bit more and to utilize that site, in that area of the site, for stormwater management. The future use of that parcel, the rectangular one that fronts on Conti, is still under.
Okay, so the assisted living is not going into that parcel. That's why
The structure itself, no, it is not.
you're not looking for us to merge all of those and create, like what we just did on Montgomery Street where we merged parcels
No.
to make one.
No, a plat of consolidation is not before you.
Thank you. That was my confusion on this.
Is this our first property south of Conti?
No, Anderson's Corner Anderson's Corner is all south.
Right.
And actually, I guess West Side's.
And actually, Anderson's
south.
Corner is shown on the same graphic. If you're looking at the screen to the left of the red outline parcels, which we just went through the rezoning with the assisted living center, the left of that is Anderson's Corner, which is shown on here. And if you back up one slide, this is the regional aerial. I mean, you can see Conterra. Spring Arbor is outlined in red and white, showing you sort of where it is in the whole vicinity.
Well, this is the first area that was annexed south of Conti Road into the city.
For the total area.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any more questions?
No, we can see the rest of it? The rest of the briefing, or?
Oh, where we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can walk through the rest of the slides. Now, again, focusing on here is within the red boundary, the area that's shown as a structure, that's the concept plan for the assisted living structure. We'll have some pictures later on with the type of facilities that they build. Basically, they'll have sidewalks, circulation system for the residents. You'll have a turnaround system in front. But basically, the point is that it's, the residents are served in that facility, taken care of on that facility, monitored, security is provided to make sure it's a safe environment, and as we stated before, it is a use that's allowed in the MXT zone, and personally believe that it works very well with what's going on in this vicinity. It's not something that, as far as we can tell, the city of Laurel has anything similar to this right now, and we have a memorandum of a marketing study that I will also hand out, which if you have any questions on, the representative developer is here and you go through, but this sort of highlights the need. It highlights the fact that it is something that is certainly within the realm of reasonable pricing compared to other options around here. Mr. Small, some of the question you asked me last night, which obviously you're more than welcome to ask again, Mr. Cook. Mr. Cook can address it, but it's also may be addressed in this packet of information that I just handed out. As Christian noted, obviously we've submitted a traffic impact study already. We received a comment, and I believe Mr. Keeley is here from Traffic Concepts, but I believe we've already addressed and resubmitted a response to that. So we've addressed the traffic issues. Obviously, going to have to work with the county on the stormwater management, which we've already submitted the concept plan for that. And WSSC issues will obviously have to resolve, but there is a lot of sewer infrastructure already going on in this area from Anderson's Corner and other projects, so that will all be sufficient to serve this particular project.
Is this area annexed?
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember that.
Yes, sir. This was the first parcel annexed south of Conti Road.
Okay. All right.
It's been over 5 years.
Yes, and that's past now. Okay.
That entire area you're seeing within that road network from Conti, Van Dusen, and what's actually shown on there, I believe, is the proposed Conti Road vendor. So that whole area has been annexed into the city. So you can get a feel for what that road network is going to look like after all the roads do go in. I mean, right now, as I understand it, the state and county are in the process of acquiring all the right-of-ways to complete construction of Conti Road extension. And obviously, the roads on the left of the screen are already in.
And is that the northern part of Conterra?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Any more questions?
No. Looks good.
Ready for a motion? Ready for a motion?
I will move to, Mr. Chairman, I will move to approve, or recommend for approval, trying to find an agenda item.
That's why I lost my.
Agenda
Okay.
item number 18, the MXT application number 844, as submitted by the applicant with the staff report, and there's no resolution, right? No. That's it.
I will second that,
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Kish?
Yes.
Mr. Walford?
Yes.
Mrs. Bettman?
Yes.
Chairman Williford?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, if I'm caught up right now, we're up to 19.
Thank you.
Preliminary subdivision plan, West Side Townhouses, West Side Boulevard, followed by Spit Matter of Land LLC. Ooh, who's got that? Okay, Jack has, okay. God dang. Man, oh man. Okay.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, what you have before you here is a request to approve a preliminary subdivision plan. This is part of the strip matter property that was annexed a few years ago. This parcel total, the preliminary subdivision totals 7.3 acres. Of that, they would like to subdivide 4.53 acres for townhouse lots. A second lot, 1.92 acres, will be a forest conservation area, as well as parcel H, which is 0.92 acres. They are requesting the lots be divided to allow for the construction of 56 townhouses. The lot front yards would be 20 foot, rear 10, and in units would be 4 foot. Building height would be a maximum of 43 feet. It is within the floor area ratio of the MXT, which allows for a maximum floor area of 1.2. Proposed is 0.22, so it's well below the floor area ratio required by the MXT zone. The open space is contained in the overall master plan or the concept plan for the strip matter property. This is the preliminary plan, so you will see this once again. Normally you get a final plan and a final plat. They're doing the preliminary plat to get your approval, and then they will come back with a final plat and a final site and landscape plan that will show all of these setbacks and so forth that you would be approving. It is the recommendation of the planning staff that Planning Commission conditionally approve the application for the preliminary subdivision plan with the conditions in the plan, with the conditions that the plan will be modified to address the requirements of the Unified Land Development Code and in accordance with the above analysis and requirements of the Department of Public Works. And those are the standard requirements that would be required of them to meet the LDC with their final plat.
This is where we've all been getting lost. New construction over there. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I have
All right,
a
please,
couple of questions for staff.
Go ahead, please.
Mr. Brock, I see in here the requirement that Public Works had as far as the roads are going to be, they won't be public roads. They're not going to be city roads.
Correct.
And just a question, I mean, for a townhouse development that makes a lot of sense, where's the line? In other words, when would we say they would be public roads? I mean, how do we make the decision whether it's going to be a public road or a private road?
in order for it to be a public road, it must meet the requirements of the street and sidewalk requirements of the subdivision plan. It'll be a minimum width of the right-of-way, the minimum width of the paving, curb face to curb face, minimum thickness of the base, minimum thickness of the asphalt.
I get that part. So
Right.
that if they decide that, so who decides whether they're going to be public roads or private roads? In other words,
Not get another Dorset.
The applicant.
so it's the applicant's call. If they don't want to bother with that, then it's their maintenance and all that. But
Right.
there would never be a time when the city would go, "Oh no, we want those to be public roads." We don't. That's not in our purview. Is what you're saying.
Well, it could be, yes. But in this instance, if they construct the subdivision and they come back and the right-of-way is not the width that was required by the city, then the city will not approve
But I'm
it.
talking about
it has
the-
to meet this. It has
In the
to meet
initial
our
site
standards.
plan, could we say right now that we don't want these to be private roads? We want you to build them to public road standards, and what would trigger us as a city to do that? I'm happy to get anybody can help me.
And if I can add mine to that, because and I'm not sure, you may be going down the same line that I went.
Yeah, I don't want to end up like Dorset.
I don't want another Dorset, and I want to make sure, I saw what Public Works had, but didn't see anything from fire, which I would want, fire department, I would want to make sure that they had the same opportunity. If it's a private road and we've got all of this, all of these people back here that have they had an opportunity to fire review it also to make sure they've got enough egress, ingress, and all of that. So.
No, that's under adequate public facilities. That review will occur when they submit their final plat and subdivision plan.
Sir?
If I might, good evening, Edward Gibbs, and I'm the attorney for the West Side Development. Blake Esherick with Strip Matter Land is here with me. I just want to pass out, so that everybody has in front of them, the concept plan that you approved for West Side.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
So, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission,
Yes, sir.
and of course, Council President Smalls, really a pleasure to be here, as always. First of all, what you have in front of you is the concept plan that you have approved and the city mayor and city council approved for this project. So, coming in, in the extreme right, you have Van Dusen Road. The blue stem that you see coming through, that's West Side Boulevard. That is graded and is ready to accept curb and gutter. It was ready to accept that in December. We got bad weather, and so we shut down for the winter. As soon as things break, and it looks like that's happening now, we'll be ready to put the curb and gutter and the base coat of paving down for West Side Boulevard. Again, that's a public roadway, and even though it cul-de-sacs, the stem going across to the purple piece, which is the hotel site, that will be a public roadway as well. Okay. So it's not that we don't have a public road coming in. West Side Boulevard is a public road. The tan area is the up to 500 multifamily units. We've been through all detailed site plans, and Mill Creek now is under construction with 484 multifamily units. Again, there's nothing happening with the hotel site right now, and nothing happening with the retail component right now. We are in on the green area. The contract purchaser there is NVR, obviously a highly reputable residential developer and construction company. They're going to build these 56 units, which we were approved for up to 80. We're only proposing to do 56. So we're going to have a public road coming in. Now, let me just say this. I'm not saying you couldn't have a public road in a residential townhome complex, but I've been practicing land use law for 36 years. I have never, ever done one or seen one that had public roads inside. And there's a really important reason for that.
they're not, these townhomes are obviously fee simple units, but they are attached. And they're generally built in a cluster or a horseshoe shape with internal circulation around. Most developers would never want to encourage public roads because the construction and roadway widths which would be required to meet public road standards would encourage higher speed traffic. And that's just not something that you want inside of a townhouse project where where basically units are attached, and you're going to have children in the fronts. Even though we're going to have play areas, you're going to have children, we're going to have paths, but it's just you don't want to encourage that type of vehicular traffic. You also don't want to encourage people coming in and parking on the sides of the streets who don't live in the townhome development. And that's generally the reason why I have never in 36 years seen a residential townhome project with public streets inside. And again, the HOA for the townhomes will be responsible for the maintenance of the internal private roads, providing access into the individual units. But when you come in, and if you look at our preliminary plan, you'll see it. This street winds around, and right off of the internal private street, you have access to all the driveways. So those are primarily the reasons why you would have private and not public streets inside of a townhome development.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just pause you there for a minute, Mr. Gibbs. Could you explain to us, given what you've just told us, when considering the layout for the streets in a community such as this, what consideration is given to public safety access to any of these, given that they would not be public streets meeting the width, et cetera, of a public street?
Well, what will happen is when the civil engineer lays the project out, and you'll see more of this when we come in with our details, our final plan, our detailed site plan, you'll have a better view of this. But basically, the civil engineer will design. I mean, there are accepted designs for private roads inside these developments, and they'll put templates on the private streets to make sure that emergency vehicles can make the fire engines and the rescue vehicles and police vehicles have adequate turning radii at each curve, and that has been accomplished in this case. And when we come back for the final plan, I'll bring our civil engineer to demonstrate that for you if you would like. But these internal streets have been designed to meet the safety needs.
Now, if I could just throw one other thing at you in terms of a question related to all of that, let's look at moving snow. I know in some projects there are deliberate circles that will allow snow to be piled up on those, again, because the streets are narrow and plows, moving snow will put snow in areas where it really makes it very difficult to navigate the streets. So what consideration, if any, is given during the planning process for streets for snow?
Again, the streets are wide enough to you're not going to have a state highway administration or a city public works truck coming up in here. It's going to be privately contracted, usually a smaller truck with a blade in the front, and then I could probably get the plan out, but. There are typically, and in this case, you will see that to be the case at the end of private road C and private road E. There is area for snow to be collected and stored. So you see, we don't have a cul-de-sac at the end there. The road just terminates.
Mr. Chairman, if I could.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Is there any sidewalks here?
Oh, yeah. That'll all be shown on the final plan, but yes, there will be sidewalks.
How wide?
They've been designed, I believe, to meet your standard city requirements. But we, again,
with all due respect, that's going to be a site plan issue.
I understand. This just looks really tight. I mean, the plan we have in front of us, I understand this is just a quick sketch. It just looks.
Well, this is just a preliminary plan, but this is not. I have another project down at 212 and 95 where we're proposing 115 townhomes on 7 acres.
Yeah, I understand, but that's not within my purview.
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying is that they're sensitive.
I appreciate that, sir. And, what I'm getting at is I've seen townhouse developments here. I've lived here for 40 years. And, when they're new and everything's working right, they're there. And then as those townhome developments age, it's a real question for me that we're building another, I think, extremely dense. I don't see a place to push snow here because you got everybody's driveway. They're not going to let you push it in front of their driveway. I don't, maybe you could get a fire truck through there, but this just to me visually looks dense. Now we'll get another lick at this, but I'm encouraging them. We don't want another super dense, non-walkable, I want a high quality townhouse development that's going to last 50 years and as it ages, people are going to want to continue to live there. And because we don't have that in many of our older townhouse communities here today.
And again, I think it's a little hard to see off of this plan, but the density is 8.7 dwelling units per acre. That is low. That is very low for a townhouse development.
Yeah. What I was going
to see it at 12.
What I was going to say, what we approved was for up to 80. So when I saw the square footage on these at over 2,000 square foot a unit, I saw that you all that they decided to go larger, and which is probably then going to allow for garages, which our current dense townhouses don't have. And I was thinking a lot of the newer, Rick, to your point, upscale townhome developments have large garages in them, and they have quite a bit, which adds additional parking. Right. So I agree. I think it looks small, but I was actually looking at the square footage as a plus instead of having smaller units with potentially multiple cars. Right. I did have a question about, and it may be that it's part of the overall larger site plan, but that there were no amenities in this part of the development. No pool, no park, no anything. Is that?
No, you would not have a pool for a 56-unit townhome development. But if you'll recall, when you approved and the mayor and council approved the conceptual site plan for West Side, there was a master recreational component for the entirety of the project.
Okay.
And so so these residents will have access to all
that was my question.
All the recreational components that are found in the multifamily, with the exception of the pool.
Thank
you. Any more questions from the commission?
And I think, just in closing, I think when we come back next time with the site plan, I think you'll be happy with what you see.
I'm trying to. That's my question after the meeting, Rick.
I've been doing good.
Yeah, it wouldn't be appropriate for now. Thank you very much. Any other questions?
Thank you.
You have something to add? Nothing, Albert? Okay, I'm ready for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of preliminary agenda item 19, preliminary subdivision plan, West Side Townhouses, West Side Boulevard, filed by Strip Matter Land LLC. I was going to say we did not ask for the public hearing, however, seeing that your wife is the only other one here.
Maybe she has
some
comments.
Yeah, they said no comment.
If there are no other comments, and include in the motion action on resolution number 15-11-PC.
Outstanding. Okay, you've heard the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Kish.
Mrs. Bettman?
Yes.
Mr. Kish?
Yes.
Mr. Walford?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
I vote no.
Chairman Williford?
Yes.
Motion carries.
very much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. Do the same. Be careful. My God. Where am I? Where am I? Where's my paper? Where's my paper? Where's my paper? Where's my paper? 19. Okay. Let me hear the application for action planning commission. Resolution 1511 was included in that, right?
Correct.
Do you think
Okay.
when those other plans
1,
come
2,
back, it's going to be
3,
tight like
4,
that too?
5.
Or
There's
do you think
5
they're
of
going
us
to do
and there are
something?
6 members on the commission.
As long as we let them.
And an alternate. But don't you consider the alternate a member of the commission? I do.
We're going to end up with another mess.
Item 20, no. 1511 was included, right?
Correct.
So we're down to 23. And we pushed this off from meeting to meeting to meeting.
My
time,
age.
Time to, the mayor talked about a vice chair for the commission, and it's time to a chairperson and a vice chair. And there are 5 of us here. The alternate is not here. And then the loud silence prevailed.
Well, first off, I'd like to congratulate you on the job that you have done while you have been here, Mr. Williford. We've become good friends, and you've led us well. And as you said today, variety is good.
Yes.
So maybe we ought to pass it on to somebody else. And I've been thinking about that. I would like to nominate Mitzi as chairperson. I don't know. Let's have comments from everybody else.
There'll be comments, but first, did we just second the nomination?
What? I'll second the nomination.
Okay. Comments. I think one, that the chair should rotate among the membership. Okay? We have 5. I always thought that the alternate made the commission 6. Okay? I don't know. The role of the vice chair would be to take over when the chair.
Right. We've always just kind of winged that. And
Yes.
I think it would be good to probably have a name. I'd like to nominate Mr. Kish as the vice chair. I think he's filled in a few times and done a good job and been on this body for quite a while.
He's the senior longevity person on the committee.
I think by a bunch. I don't know when. I've only been on a few years.
I'm the junior.
No.
So
that would be good.
So I'd like to nominate that. Do we have a second?
Wait, we haven't had a second on. Do we have a second on Mitzi?
We did.
Who did it?
I did it.
Okay, fast talker, huh?
You bet.
Okay, now you put Mr. Kish up here.
If he's willing to accept.
All right, that's what I'm.
Yes, I will accept that.
All right.
What is the pay grade on that? How high does that go?
You get paid. Mitzi gets paid twice what you get paid.
Okay.
Oh.
As
We'll
a
split
retiree,
it.
I need
We'll
that.
split it. Yeah, same here.
You nominated for commission or chair rather.
I
And
will.
you're nominated for vice chair. Is that
And we
right?
could probably combine those votes if we don't have an issue, if you don't have an issue with that. So I'll move that we approve Ms. Bateman as chairman and Mr. Kish as vice chairman.
I'll second.
Well, we've had a motion and a second. Are we ready for a vote?
Mr. Wilson?
I vote yes.
Mr. Walford?
Yes.
Mr. Kish?
Undecided. Yes.
Mrs. Bettman?
Before I vote yes, I'd like to thank the current chairman and all the rest of the commissioners, and I only hope that with your support, I will be able to serve the city and the commission well.
There's no
And with
doubt
that,
in my mind.
yes, thank
no
you.
doubt in my mind.
Chairman Williford?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
So we have a
for
chair.
your service.
We have a new chair. and a brand new vice chair.
We never had one before, I guess.
No, it's new. But I'd like to say this, that it's been a pleasure sitting here in this chair. I have disdain for Robert's Rules of Orders. I've seen more meetings messed up by Robert's Orders, and I like the informality, but that's not saying that it has to stay. I appreciate everything the staff has done. You've done excellent work throughout the time I've been in this chair and before I got to this chair. I appreciate it. And some of the complexity, this thing had my head spinning around and around and around. And hearing Bobby over there talking about one road down the other, I had no clue what he was talking about. Because I see the site, look at the staff paper. I've not seen the vehicles walking, driving. I haven't seen people walking in and being serviced. I haven't seen cars turning left and right over there by the Plaza. I've only gone in one way and out of the red light. New guy on the block. So it's been fun to be here and sit here sometimes confused because you all were throwing around the name Dorset or something. And all of you know what that is talking about.
It connects
Dorset
Sandy
Road.
Spring and Brooklyn Bridge.
Before my time. Is there any more business?
I do have a couple of comments.
Okay, please.
If I could.
Certainly.
I guess second to Mr. Kish, I've been around this planning commission for a number of years. I want to first of all thank you, Don, for your leadership over the years. As I recall, it took a little persuading to get you to even consider being chair of this planning commission.
They just voted and said do it.
But your intellect and your wit has really been not only refreshing, but I think it's been something that with sort of the mundane work that sometimes occurs with this commission, it's been a joy working and serving with you on this commission. Now, let me move to the new chair and vice chair. I think we all know that John, where he is, John's been around for a long time.
He's only 23.
But I won't comment.
Thank you.
I'll leave that. But John's. I'll just say this: John has a lot of experience on the planning commission. Mitzi has a great deal of dedication and commitment, and that's evident every meeting.
Yes,
with the amount of detail and work that she puts into every application and reviewing it. So I know you'll make an excellent chair and a great leader.
Chairperson is the word, I believe.
Chairperson.
Go ahead.
So that's my 2 cents. I just wanted to add that as we move forward and then reflect on where we've been. Don, you have been an outstanding chairman, and at our next meeting, I'll make sure there's a Hostess cupcake.
Well, I think we need to take them to McDonald's and take them in the
back way.
The back way. And I look forward to Mitzi continuing to work with under your leadership with the commission as well as John.
Appreciate those remarks and all the kind words. I found that since 1999, I've been on this commission, and I've never regretted it. It's been fun. It's been interesting, and I appreciate the dedication of each and every one of you and the staff. I don't think we've ever come up flaky in anything you've submitted. Confusing sometimes, yes. And to sit here and hear the comments of the, I don't want to say old timers, but of the people who grew up here, like you were talking about this turn, and I had no idea, where the hell were you talking about? Oh, am I off? I'm sorry. So it's interesting to sit here because when I look at a project, it's based on the paper. I don't see the people in and out parking, and like Bill, when you were up thinking about turning a certain direction on the street, or Arby's and that tall tower or statue up that there. those things don't mean anything to me. Or skating on the lake. Whew, God, it's crazy. You feel like you're out of place. And Fred, you were on this commission too, and so was the mayor on the planning commission. And it's just been a pleasure. I don't mind. When I say don't mind, sometimes you just don't feel like doing something. I've never felt like not doing it. And you just picked me up and carried me. So I felt like I was being lifted and carried by the 5 of you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm glad to see, since what's her name, who's on CBS Cyber now, who got the Academy Award. I just hope that as chairperson, you get equal pay. Okay. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, you're not going anywhere, though.
No, you're going to be here.